there in class 9th, mean, median, and mode, but it was deleted. So that portion basically you have to study in class 10th. Okay. So in class 9th, if you remember, we have plotted bar graph, histogram, frequency polygon. Anything you remember?
Yes.
Okay. So first thing is you have two types of data. Sorry, one is called ungrouped data, and then you have grouped data. So what is the difference between it? Ungrouped data can be of this type that I mean, it can be very discrete values. For example, I say that in the month of April, uh, there were 4 holidays, right? In the month of May, there were 8 holidays. In the month of any October, there was, let's say, 12 holidays, and like that. So they are very different things. Like variables are discrete. There is no relation between them, right? One is April, other is October, other is something. Or something regarding cities, something regarding uh, regarding weather, that in the month of January this is happening, the month of March this is happening. So this type of data is called ungrouped data. Understood?
Yes.
Okay. Or for example, in the class there are, let's say, 50 students, right? And you are dividing them according to their blood group. So you have mainly 4 types of blood group: A, then you have AB, then you have B positive, and then O or O plus or O minus, like that. So you are dividing, let's say 13 students are having A plus and like that. So this type of data is ungrouped data. Is that clear?
Yes.
Now we come to, okay, now ungrouped data can also be like that. Um, okay, for example, there are 20 students in the class, right? So I just name them, for example, there are names A, B, C, D, and like that. There are 20 students, right? And their height are like that. One is, let's say, 155 centimeter, and another is 160 centimeter, and like that. So if you have this kind of data, is that clear? So it's very difficult to write all the 20 students, that A, B, C, D, and then you write their corresponding, heights. So we try to group this data together, right? So we are saying that in this group, let's say first group is the height 155 centimeter to height 160 centimeter. So let's say how many students? Let's say 8 students are falling in this group. Then another group 160 to 165 centimeter. Let's say 10 students are falling in this. So if we form groups like this, so this data becomes your grouped data. Just a very quick revision. Okay, I'm not going into exact tables here. I hope this thing is clear now.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So basically in class 10th, you have to deal with measure of central tendency. Now, what is this central tendency? See, you have heard the name of average. Remember, many times you have heard this name average, average, right? Now, what is this average? So it's like, for example, a cricket player. Let's say we have a cricket player. So he has played, let's say, 100 matches, right? You
Yes.
must have seen it on the screen also, for a particular player. Let's say I have this, who is the current one right now from Indian team? Let's say Kohli,
Good.
right? So his average is, for example, 55 runs. There is another player, any player X, whose average is 75 runs, let's say. So that means in 100 matches, sometimes he must have scored 99, sometimes he might have scored something greater than 100 also, sometimes he might be out on zero also. So if you just find a number which gives an idea about the player, right? So this number is average. Basically, If this average is 55 and this average is 75, so obviously you will say that player X is better than the player Kohli, isn't it? So this average is very important. This is basically called central tendency. So this central tendency actually gives you an idea of the complete picture. Is that clear, Rita? There are different kinds of central tendency. I'll come to that. But this number is actually important. So it's not possible that I all the time, for example, I'm discussing something about Kohli. So obviously I'll not say, okay, in his first match he scored 90 runs. In his fifth match he has scored 40 runs and like that. So it's difficult to talk about all the 100 matches all the time. So we just use the um average number to represent Kohli. This average number gives us an idea about the player, that how a player is, like is he a very good player, is he a very good batsman, is he not. So this central number is important, understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Now this central tendency can be of three types. So one is called mean, right? Then you have median also, and then you have mode also. So all these things represent central tendency. Hamna, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So one by one, we will learn what is mean, what is the meaning of median, and what is the meaning of mode, right? Okay. So let us start with mean. So I hope you have understood what is central tendency. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. So this is just like an average thing which gives you an idea about the complete thing. So just and it's not the complete picture, but just an idea about the complete picture. Okay. So first central tendency is mean. Now mean can be of ungrouped data also, and you can also find mean for the grouped data. So in your syllabus, you have to find mean for the grouped data, but just a quick recap. If you have ungrouped data, for example, you have 5 students, A, B, C, D, E. Okay. In a class, let's say you have, or in a, you know, in your batch, let's say you have 5 students. Now, the total marks in the test were 20. Now, A has scored 10 marks, B has scored 5, has scored 3, D has scored, let's say, 2 marks, and this one has scored 15 marks. Okay.
yes, ma'am.
So this is ungrouped data. Individual marks are given to you. You can find the mean of this data. How? This mean is represented by X bar. So you can just add all the numbers, 10 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2 and plus 5, 15, and divide by the total number of students. So this is the method of finding, and then you can add it. So this becomes like 15 plus 15, 30, and that is 35 by 5. So that is 7. So 7 is the average mark of this batch. So that means it's not a good batch, right?
Yes,
Like
ma'am.
7 by 20 are not very good marks. So this gives you an idea about the complete performance of the batch. Hmm. Uh, so there's a way of writing it properly if you denote it in
Ma'am,
column.
so
Hmm.
all these come under averages only.
Yeah, so central tendency is the better term to use. Then there are three kinds of central tendency. One is called mean, which is average also. We say it average also in a regular term. Otherwise, the proper term is arithmetic mean. Okay.
Okay.
Arithmetic mean is the standard term. We also call it average in the normal language, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the first kind of central tendency, arithmetic mean. Okay. Mm. So basically, these marks, they are denoted by X. Uh, I think so. The way to represent it is like that. For example, this is your student number one, right? Student number one, two, three, four, and five. Then small x denotes their marks. So marks are 10, 5, 3, 2, and 15, like that. Okay, so this average x bar is actually denoted like this: summation x I. So that means this I will start from 1 and it will go up to 5. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So this, in this current in this example, I have 5 students, but I can have n students. So n can be any, you can have 5 students, 20 students, or any number of students. And then you have to divide this whole thing by the number of students. So that I can write here 1 upon n. So this is how you represent this arithmetic mean of ungrouped data, right? Okay, so I think you don't have to write all these things. It's just a revision of class 9. Now let me come to grouped data, of which is in your syllabus. Now this mean of grouped data can be found by 3 methods. The first is called the direct method. One by one we will study all of them. Then second is called the assumed mean method. And the third is step deviation method. Okay. Just 1 minute. Let me find the example. I think I can take questions direct from NCRT. That will be better. Okay, so sorry, just I was taking time to open. With the help of questions, we will understand one by one all the three methods. Okay, so a survey was conducted. Can you see my screen, all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
By a group of students as a part of their environment awareness program, okay, in which they collected the following data regarding the number of plants in 20 houses in the locality. Find the mean number of plants per house. Okay, so how to do this question? So this you can see it's a grouped data. So you have to make a table like that. For the direct method, I'm saying you write number of plants, which is actually, your groups basically. So first is 0 to 2, then you have 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, then 8 to 10, 10 to 12, and 12 to 14, right? Then you write corresponding number of houses. So in how many houses you have found them? Now this number of houses is actually your frequency. So it will be denoted by Fi. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is frequency. So this happened in one house. This is 2, 1, 5, 6, 2, and 3. Okay. Now the next thing is you have to find class mark. Now what is class mark? Please you can note here class mark. So class mark is nothing but the middle value of the group. Just to remember. Okay. Now what is the formula for finding it? So upper limit and then um, plus lower limit of the group and divided by 2. This is how you find it. Okay. So you find it here 0 plus 2, 2 and then divided by 2. Class mark, it will be denoted by xi. Okay. This is fi, this is xi. So you can write the formula here. Okay, don't write. You can write like this 0 plus 2 divided by 2. So that gives you how much? 1. Similarly, for the next one, you will do 2 plus 4 and divided by 2. So that gives you 6 by 2 and that is 3, right?
Yes.
Similarly, you find 10 divided by 2, so you get 5. Then you have 6 and 8, that is 14 by 2, that is 7. 18 by 2 is 9. 22 by 2 will be 11. And 26 by 2 will be 13. So this is your xi. Okay. Okay. Now you find fi into xi. So you multiply them. Now what is this I? That means if you are taking the first group, you will take multiply the frequency of the first row. Understand? If you are
Okay.
taking fourth row, so you will multiply the frequency of the fourth row only. I mean, you cannot multiply any other frequency. So this I has to be same. Understood? So this I can take up different values. How many values? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically up to 7 values it can take. But if you take f2, you have to multiply with x2. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now you multiply fi into xi. So 1 into 1, 1. 2 into 3, 6. Okay, so in case you forget, you can write like this. So 2 into 3 will give you 6. Then 1 into 5, that will give you 5. So like that you have to multiply. 5 into 7 is 35. 6 into 9, 54. 11 into 2, 22. 13 into 3 is 39. Sorry, 39. Rida, Hamna, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you have written fi, so you will add it here. And then this also you will add. So this will be denoted by, this sign is called summation. So summation of fi. So total frequency you will find out. It should be 20 because it's a data of 20 houses, right? You can check.
Yes.
Okay. Now fi into xi also you have to multiply. So you write like this, summation fi xi. You are adding. So just add it, what you get. Please tell me what you are getting here. So you
And
will
the
get
last one is 30, right?
39. 13 into 3, right?
Okay.
So you will get 162. Okay.
Okay.
Now mean. So how do you find mean? This is mean by direct method. Okay. So mean. This one is direct method I'm doing. I have not started assumed mean right now. So this is summation of fi xi and then divided by summation of fi. This is the formula. So summation of fi xi is 162. Summation of fi is 20. So this you can do like this, 2 and then keep this 10 separate. So you divide. So 2 into 8 is 16 and then 81 divided by 10. So that gives you 8.1.
Ma'am,
So
please scroll up. Ma'am, so plasma could be lower limit plus upper limit, right?
yes, divided by 2.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, thank you.
See, it's also written in your NCRT. Class mark is upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. So in like general language, it's basically the middle value of the group, right? Of the class, whatever class you are taking. So the middle value is called the class mark. Okay, so I think you have understood the direct method, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's take one example and let's do it from assumed mean method. I should take something from your book and then I'll explain it. Just wait, let me take one example. See, I have this question. What I'll do is, okay, direct method, I think you have understood. I should not repeat it. Let me do it with assumed mean method now. And let me explain what it is. See now why I'm using the assumed mean method and then again one more method which is called the step deviation method, just to make your calculations much more easier. Is that okay, Rita?
Yes.
See, as you have seen in the previous question here, uh, these were only like only 7 groups were there. If you have so many, then adding here was getting a bit difficult. Understood? Because the numbers were becoming large. So we can further make uh, the calculations or the number is small, right? So we can use another method which is called the assumed mean method. It will like makes the number a little bit small to deal with. Let us use assumed mean method and let us try to understand it. As it is clear from the name, we assume a mean here. Okay, assumed mean method. Now what is it? So first I write this in the table form, this data. So first is your class interval here. I'll write, which is 10 to 25. Then you have 25 to 40, 40 to 55, then 55 to 70. Then we have 70 to 85, and then 85 to 100. These are your class interval. Now the frequency, which is number of students, as you can see here, class interval and number of students which are given. So the frequency is denoted by Fi, as I told you. So this is your Fi, right? Just write the corresponding frequency. This is 2, 3, 7, 6, 6, 6. Okay. See, when you have class interval, so you cannot do any calculation with this group. You need one number, right? This is a group from 10 to 25. You need a single number to deal with, isn't it? So for that, we find class mark. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So class mark means the middle value. Can you just find quickly? 10 plus 25 divided by 2. And this is denoted by xi. So this is 35 by 2, right? Which will be 17.5. Now this is 65 by 2. So it will be third.
65 by 3.
It will be 32.5, right? Okay.
65 by 3, right?
Yeah, okay. Sorry. Okay, anyway, this is a solved example I'm doing. So I'm just looking at your book, but you learn the method, okay? So calculations, I am just doing here 62.5, 77.5, and 92.5. You know how to find the class mark, okay?
Yes.
See, not divided by 3, Harsha. I'm not dealing with Fi here. The formula for class mark is upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2. That's it. Just don't look at the frequency right now. This is 25 plus 40 divided by 2. This is 40 plus 55 divided by 2. This you have to do. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Frequency is something separate. Don't look at that. Now you will multiply. Now, in the direct method, we just multiply Fi xi and then we sum it, because in the formula we need summation Fi xi. Clear, Rida? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
that was direct method. In the assumed mean method, what we do is, out of these values, we can assume a number, any number you can assume. So let's say this one I assume. Let's say this is my assumed mean and I denote this by A. Okay. Now please make note one thing. You can also assume 62.5. You can also assume 77.5. There will be no change in the answer. You can check yourself later. Okay. So something from the middle you can choose. You can choose 47.5 also, or you can choose 62.5 also, but you denote this by A. Is that clear?
Yes.
So the next column is we find deviation. Okay, deviation, which is denoted by D. It's a number. It will give you some number. Let us call it DI. So basically, from your XI, you subtract this assumed mean. So you get your next column of DI. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now 17.5 minus 47.5. What will it give you? It will give you minus of 30. Okay. Then 32.5 minus 47.5. So that gives you minus of 15.
Ma'am, it should be more than the half. Like, it can't be 32.5 or 17.5.
Something around the middle value, right?
Okay.
You can also take 62.5.
Okay.
So something around the middle value you can take. Okay. So 47.5 minus 47.5 is 0. Then this will give you 15. This will give you 30. And this will give you 45. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now with this number, you will multiply your frequency. So the next column will be FIDI. Now you multiply 2 into 30. So minus of 60, right? Then 3 into 15. So minus of 45. 7 into 0 is 0. 15 into 6 will be 90. Then it will be 180 and it will be 270. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you will do summation of this column. So you need summation of FIDI. Now please add them. What you get, tell me. And this I forgot. You always have to do this. Okay. Summation of FI you need in all the methods. So this is actually part of question. How many students are there? Okay, sorry, I didn't copy that part. So you have to edit. It will give you 30. Yes, so your summation of FIDI will be 435. Understood? If you do this addition.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now your formula for the mean, which we denote by X bar. This is the denotion. Oh, sorry. This is the sign we use it. So now this is A plus. Okay. Summation of this FIDI, which we have done, and divided by the complete summation FI. This will give you the mean. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So your A was this 47.5 and plus. So this is 435 divided by 30. And then you can solve it. So this will be 47.5 plus. So again, you divide this by 3 and then keep your 10 in the denominator. So what you get? 3 into 1, then 13. So 3 into 4 is 15. No. 3 into 1, 13. So 3 into 4 is 12 and then 15, right? So that becomes 47.5 plus 14.5, and that you can add. So 5 and 5 0, carry 1, 7 and 4 is 11 and 2, carry 1, 62. So your mean is 62. Hamna, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So just a quick recap. In that direct method, we only need FIXI, right? We just direct multiply FIXI.
Yes, ma'am.
So only these two columns we need in the direct method. In the assumed mean method, we first find DI and then we multiply FI into DI. Not with XI, but with DI we multiply. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so one additional column we make, which is of DI in the assumed mean method. Now, the next method is called the step deviation method. So in step deviation method, there will be further one more column. Understand? And then you are going to multiply your Fi with that. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So there will be one more column. And for that, you need an additional number, which is called H here, which is class size. So this number we will be using, class size. Now, what is class size? For example, you have a class, let's say 10 to 25, right? So what is the size of this class? 25 minus 10. That means there is a gap of 15, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is your H. So H is equal to 15 in this case. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is class size. So same example I'm using so that it becomes understood here. And we will not need to repeat all the calculations also. Yeah, so same example, okay? So let me just quickly write whatever we have. First was class interval. So this was 10 to 25, 25 to 40. Then you have 40 to 55, 55 to 70, 70 to 85, and then 85 to 100, right? Then your next column was FI, which was, I'm just writing. So first column will be FI, right? Next column will be XI, which is your class mark. That means the middle value of the group you will find out, right? Obviously, with this group, you cannot multiply anything. Is that clear? You need a number from this. So that number is actually class mark, which is the middle value. Okay. In the direct method, just enough. Fi into xi, fine. In the assumed mean method, additional column of ti, which is xi minus of a, right? Now, in the step deviation method, the next column will be of ui. Now, what is ui? So this xi minus a will be further divided by h. This will become your ui, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and in the final, we will multiply fi into ui. Right? So in this question itself, you can make just 1 minute. Yeah. This one is direct method. Okay. If you multiply these two. Now, if you multiply these two, this becomes your assumed mean method. Okay. And if you multiply this with this in the end, so that becomes your step deviation method. Is that clear, Rida? Yeah.
Ma'am, so in the step
Hmm.
deviation method, we don't need to find DI.
Yeah, you will need to find DI. So this number is what? This is your DI, right? So once you have found the value, you can directly divide by H. Otherwise, in every column, you will first of all subtract and then you will divide. So it's better you first find DI, or you can also write it like this, no? DI by H.
Okay.
So the calculation will be easier. You have already found DI, just divide this by H, right? This is just a way of writing. Okay. Okay. So the same thing, this much will repeat. I'm just copying down. So 2, 3, 7, 6, 6, 6. Okay. Then your xi we have already found 17.5, 32.5, 47.5, 62.5, 77.5, and then 92.5. Okay. Now di also we have done minus 30, minus 15, 0, 15, 30, and 45. Now let us find ui. Okay, so separately write down what is your h here in this question. Your h is any number you can take. If I just take this, for example, 55 minus 40, how much is it? 15. So this is your h, which is class size. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So h is 15. We have already found. So minus 30 divided by 15. So that becomes minus 2. Minus 15 by 15. So minus 1. Now 0 by any number, 0. 15 by 15, 1. 30 by 15 is 2. 45 by 15 is 3. Now you have to do, okay, now you multiply fi into ui. So 2 into 2, 4. So minus of 4. 3 into 1, minus 3. 7 into 0, 0. 6 into 1, 6. 6 into 2, 12. 6 into 3 is 18. So can you see the numbers are getting so small, isn't it?
Yes. Ma'am.
Yes. They are not big numbers. So, I mean, the calculation part is much easier to do. So in the direct method, large numbers will be there. In the assumed mean, further reduced. In the step deviation, further reduced. Now you just add it in the last summation of fi ui. Now please find out how much is it. And also summation of fi you always have to do, which was 30.
I'm 29.
29. Okay. Now please note the formula for mean. So in this case, the mean will be found, which is x bar, right? So this time it will be a plus now h multiplied by this thing. Okay. Summation of fi ui and divided by summation of fi. So this is the formula for mean in the step deviation method. Rida, is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So a we have assumed, which was 47.5. H is your 15, which is your class size. And this is 29 and this is 30. And then calculate. So 47.5 plus uh, oh, okay, 15. See, 15, it will become 29 by 2, right? 15 into 2 is 30. So 47.5 plus 2 into 1, 2 into 4, 14.5, and that is again 62. So any method you use, your mean will be 62. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just one thing I want to tell you here. Mm, let's take one example of the book, and then the next class I'll start the exercise. Okay, so just look at this example of your book. For example, this data is given, no, right? Oh, sorry, not in this form. Just a minute. Okay, this is the given table to you. Okay, so this is a table in which percentage of female teachers is given and the number of states and UTs are given. Now find the mean percentage of female teachers by all the three methods discussed in this section. So in the exam, they will not ask you like this, that all the three methods, they will either specify the method or they will leave it to you that any suitable method like that. But if you want, for example, in this question, if you want to do by all the three methods, you can do in a single table, right? How will you do? So the first column is your class interval, which is percentage of female teachers. So you write it here, percentage of female teachers, okay? Which is given like this, 15 to 25, 25 to 35, 35 to 45, 45 to 55, 65, then 65 to 75, and 75 to 85, right? And the next column is obviously their frequency, which is your FI, right? Number of states and UTs, that is your frequency. So number of states. So this becomes your FI. So you write them 6, 11, 7, 4, 4, 2, 1. Okay, and the next is obviously XI. First of all, we find XI, which is class mark. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is your FI, this is your XI. So you find the middle value. So 25 plus 15, that becomes 40 by 2, that is 20. So 25 plus 35 is, okay, this becomes 60 by 2, that is 30. And like that. So this is 80 by 2, that is 40. So 50, 60, 70, 80. These are the middle values of the class. So Fi into Xi, right? So what you will do is you will leave the next column for your Di. Okay. Then you will leave the next column for your Ui. So basically all the three things you will find here, right? First is your Xi, which you need for the direct method. This you need for the assumed mean method, and this you need for the step deviation method, right? Summation of Fi we can just find because we need in all the three, so that will be 35. Okay. Now Di, that you know, it is, so if I assume this to be my A, right? So this is Xi minus A, okay? And what is the class size here? 25 minus 15, 10. So 10 is the gap here. So this will be your Xi minus A and divided by H. Now one by one, for the direct method, you need column Fi Xi, right? So this column you will make. Now for the assumed mean, you need column Fi into Di. So this you will make. For the step deviation, you need Fi into Ui. So all the three method you can do in one table itself. And then you do summation, all the three summation. This you will use for the direct method. This you will use for step deviation method. Sorry, assumed mean method, and this for step deviation method. I hope it's clear.
Yes.
Okay, so you can complete this example. This is your homework. Do the calculation yourself and check